don't buy an ND filter. Don't buy step-up rings. Don't buy the maximum amount of diffusion. Don't ever buy the smallest thread size of any filter. Yo, what's good, you legends? I hope you're doing dope. Yo, that was kind of cool, huh? Yeah, I kind of like that. Today, Uncle Joe is gonna help you out with some filter knowledge so that you won't look like an idiot like I did. Because it happens often. Filter stuff is the stuff that everyone assumes that you know, but you just don't want to ask questions because it seems so simple. Now, before we go any further, quick things that you got to know about. Number one is diffusers. These are the filters that change the image, and there are tons of them. Pro mists are like the most popular ones, but that's like saying, hey, can I have a Kleenex, when in actuality you're asking for a tissue? Or like you say, hey, look at the big Jumbotron in the stadium, when in actuality it's just look at the big screen. Jumbotron, Kleenex, and Pro Mist are a brand, not a specific category. You got the ones that do like the anamorphic flare things, kaleidoscope effect, split diopter effect, blooming of the highlights, and so much more. You can basically crack like a UV filter and say that that's like a new filter and then you can sell it. That's not business advice. Next, you got ND filters or variable ND filters, which are just like everyone has said for all of eternity, they're like sunglasses for your lens. But the way that I do it different because, you know, I got some dope sunglasses, you know what I mean? That was kind of a douchey thing to say, bro. Yeah, you right. You got ND filters and then variable ND filters, which variable ND just allows it to be able to control how dark or how bright it's gonna get. And finally, you got polarizers, which cut through reflections, just like being able to see through water or through car windows. And I know it sounds like a lot of filters that you gotta buy, but this is basically where the Freewell 7-in-1 magnetic ND filters comes in because it's basically everything in one filter, which is kind of cool. Now, Freewell did hook me up with this kit. However, they are not paying me to do or say anything because they said I'm too expensive. Nah, I'm just playing. But seriously, my first point and my cousin's name, number one. The number one thing you gotta know about all this filter crap is that you gotta put your Pro Mist or your diffuser on first, and then your ND will always come in at the end. Because if not, you're not gonna be able to spin that ND filter in the most comfortable way possible. If I would have had this Freewell thing, I wouldn't have had any issues because the polarizer thingy or your Pro Mist actually goes inside, so there's no other way that you could put it. But just in case you don't get your hands on one of these, you always put the Pro Mist or your diffuser at the beginning, and then your ND filter goes on at the end so you can actually move it comfortably. Listen up, chump bags. Don't ever buy the smallest thread size of any filter. Unless you got money like that, bro, go for it, but I just don't suggest it. Let me ask you this, what happens whenever you buy that new shiny lens and it is a bigger thread size than all your other lenses? Yeah, all those expensive filters that you just bought, gone. Finito. Finished. Oh yeah. You can't use them anymore. For example, this Freewell 7-in-1 filter kit will set you back around 350 bucks depending on the thread size, and that is a very expensive accessory for you to only use it with one lens. Oh, I got that mess. Let's go. Anyway, remember to always get the biggest size if you have any doubts. Yo, that's what she said. She told me to get those step-up rings because when you get step-up rings, you can make the biggest filter that you got fit on even some of your smallest lenses. That is what everyone says, but no, dude, right now I'm telling you, don't buy step-up rings. Let me explain real quick. Now, step-up rings are these little Lego connector looking things that you screw on to your bigger filter so it connects to any other lens that you got, regardless of the thread size. You can only do this if you have a bigger filter on a smaller lens, not the other way around. What would happen if you did do that? It's like a built-in vignette. Who knew? So you can use step-up rings to use your one filter to rule them all.
One ring to rule them all.
Lord of the Rings reference? Okay, my audience are not geeks. Noted. The whole step-up ring thing is not perfect. It's really annoying because when you want to switch lens, you're gonna have to take off the entire filter plus all the step-up rings. But not all of your lenses are the same size. Unscrew some of them, guy that is gonna get lost back to the first lens that we were talking about. They're gonna get stuck tossed into the wind, and then you're Santo Dios. You can't even get that is gonna get lost. Never going to find that ring. It is a hassle. So what is it that I suggest is a revo ring. A revo ring is basically all the step-up rings, but you don't have to do any of the screwing on. It's just like a little push press thing, and then you hook it onto anything and it just fits it all. Think of it like a step-up ring to rule them. No Lord of the Rings references. Got it. Yo, I gotta find that joint real quick. By the way, just a fun fact, you are watching free content right now. And unfortunately, I still have bills to pay, so let's just knock that out real quick. If you're needing some high quality, dope threads, just like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you can go ahead and check out Cuts Clothing. They're a great company. I hook you up with 15% off, bro, so check that out. But if that is not your style, you can always check out my website. Every single photo I've ever posted anywhere has been used with those presets. I sell those, as well as any kind of courses on Lightroom or even sound design. I have some stuff in there for you too. too. In those mini courses, I go into way more depth than any of my YouTube videos will ever be able to go into. So if you truly want to invest in yourself, feel free to go ahead and check those out. I guarantee you it will instantly step up your creative game. Yo, that's a bar. But if you don't want to do any of that money garbage, go ahead and hit that like button and comment so that you can continue enjoying free content from this channel. Bro, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't buy an ND filter. Always buy a variable ND filter. Because if you go cheap and just buy a single ND filter, you're gonna be sitting there guessing at which ND filter, how many stops, which one is darker, which one is brighter. You're gonna be sitting there struggling and wasting time. And then you gotta adjust the ISO and then the f-stop and shutter speed. It's a mess, bro. It's better to get a variable ND filter because you can just spin it and adjust how much darkness or brightness you're gonna need to add to the image. So the Freewell works like any other ND filter that you have. And if you don't want it, it's just a magnet, you just take it off. And finally, don't buy the maximum amount of diffusion or the maximum amount of pro mist or whatever the highest number is. Some of them are like 10% and 20%, and then other ones are like a quarter and then like an eighth, I think. Just don't go maximum, please. Now, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm really just trying to help you out here. Please don't take this a negative way. It looks tacky. It has no contrast. It looks like it has a permanent fade on it. It makes it look like your lens is dirty, which is actually what these filters do. It literally is just a dirty UV filter. Just a fun fact for you. It needs to be subtle. Remember that a diffuser is literally just dumbing down your camera. So all those specs that you're bringing in, all the resolution, all the sharpness and the expensive lenses, when you put a pro mist on there, or when you put one of those diffusers on there, you're literally dumbing down the lens to make it softer. It kind of makes you think why people continue to do more research on lenses rather than doing research on filters. Just don't go crazy with the diffusion. You're insulting your camera at that point. I believe the only exception to this rule is if you're doing like a music video or you're doing some kind of dream sequence or something that is stylistically appropriate. If you shoot every video with 100% diffuser or whatever it's called, we should take your camera away. Nah, I'm just playing, bro, but just be intentional with your diffusers, okay? Don't use it all the time. It needs to be done on purpose if you're using that max amount. I hope that you don't make the same mistakes I did with all of these filters, because all these things I did, because nobody told me. If you're interested in getting an early bird discount, you can go ahead and check that out, but the price is going to jump within the next 24 hours to 48 hours from this video dropping. All in all, after using this bad boy, I think it's a great product. However, do I use it every single time I'm shooting? No, I don't. Sometimes I use a pro mist, sometimes I'm using a different kind of diffuser, and sometimes I'm using a different kind of ND filter. It all depends on what the project calls for. When I'm vlogging, do I use this? Yes, absolutely, because it's the most convenient, which is what you're paying for here. You're paying for the convenience of having a diffuser already built into it, a polarizer already there, a variable ND that goes all the way up to 9 stops. You don't have to go through all the research of having to find an ND filter that isn't gonna create an X on accident whenever you twist it, or you're gonna have something that does some crazy color casting whenever you add a diffuser on it or something. This is a solid product. But before you go ahead and hit that like button on your way out and comment for the fans. And if you're interested, you can follow me at Keyboard King on Instagram if you want to see all the behind the scenes and all of that jazz. And I will catch you on the flip side. What do you think? Do you like it whenever like I'm in the office talking about this stuff? Or do you like it whenever I'm like out in the field? Because I'm gonna be honest, I really like the audio whenever it's in here. And then I don't have to deal with wind or location or the sun changing and white balance. Like, this is not, like, dude, this is so much easier. Anyway, how about you just comment below?